Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problems that we are about to solve are problem number 81 and 82. Problem number 81 and 82 on page number 163. I'm going to do problem number 82 first because it's a very simple problem. It's a very straightforward problem. I just want to get it out of the way, and then we'll do 81, which is a little bit more involved. In problem number 82, we are told that we have this family which spends the money in this ratio. Let's see exactly how it's worded. It says Johnson's monthly budget is allocated to household expenses, food and miscellaneous, right here. Expenses, food and miscellaneous in the ratio of 5 to 2 to 1. As you can clearly see, the total parts is 8. There are 8 total parts, and we are told that their budget is $1,800, which is their total budget, which comprises the 8 parts. The question simply is, how much do they spend on food? How much do they spend on food? Well, food is 2 parts, 2 out of 8, which means food is simply 1/4 of 1,800. 1,800 divided by 4. How many 4 in 18? 18 has 4 4s. The remaining 2 goes and joins the 0, becomes 20. 20 has 5 4s. That's it. Even this part, we didn't have to make too much fuss about it. If you want to divide any number by 4, you just take a half of it and then take half again. Half of 1,800 is 900 and half of 900 is 450. That's it. So they spend $450 on food. It's out of the way now. Let's do 81. 81 is not going to be such a smooth ride, I'm warning you. In 81, we are told that we have two machines working together. Working together, A and B, make 800 units in X hours. A by itself makes 800 in Y hours. How long will B take? How long will B take to make the 800 units? I'm going to describe making the 800 units as the job. So how long will B take to do the job? That's the question. We are told that A and B, when they're working together, they take X hours to do the job. We are told that when machine B is working by itself, when machine A is working by itself, A takes Y hours to do the job. Now listen, there are 2 ways we can go about solving this thing. One is what I would call the traditional way, the orthodox way, the classical way, the geeky way, the nerdy way, the academic way, the algebraic way. And the other one is what I call the quick and dirty way. In the quick and dirty way, what you do is you plug in numbers. Plug in numbers for variables. We plug in numbers to the variables, and thereby we convert a fairly complicated algebra problem into a very simple arithmetic problem. You can plug in any number that you want to plug in, anything at all. It will always work as long as your arithmetic is correct. But having said that, you can plug in any number that you want. For example, I'm not going to pretend that working together A and B make 800 units in 3 hours. Even though I've not read the rest yet, it just doesn't feel right, because soon we're going to have to figure out how many they make in 1 hour. And 800 does not divide even into 3. So I'm going to put in here something like 4 or 2 or 8 or 10, something that divides easily into 800. I'm going to put in 2. So that's one thing. Keep your numbers. That keeps your arithmetic pretty simple. and also try to keep your number as small as possible. Having said that, don't plug in 1, because 1 doesn't do anything, 1 doesn't evolve. Don't plug in 1. So I'm going to pretend right now that they take 2 hours to make 800 units. A and B together take 2 hours to make 800 units. Let's go on then. A by itself makes 800 units in Y hours. So how long do you want how long do you want A to take? Just make up other numbers. Let's see. I pretended that Y was 8. So now if we're going to pretend that X is 2 and Y is 8 based on this plugging in values, so now A makes 100 units per hour. Now remember, working together they take only 2 hours, which means A must make, which implies that A must make 200 of the 800 units. Because working together they make 800 units in 2 hours. A is only making 200 because A is working at the rate of 100 per hour because of the fact that we plugged in 8 for Y. So here now it reads like this. It says A by itself makes 800 units in 8 hours. That's what it reads to us. It is no longer an algebra problem, it is an arithmetic problem. So if A is making 200 of the 800 unit, that also implies that B must make the remaining 600 in 2 hours. Well, if B is making the remaining 600 in 2 hours, that in itself implies that B must work at the rate of 300 units per hour. So it's working at 300 units per hour. That's the speed of B. The question is, how long will B take to make 800 units? That's all it is. That's very simple. So if it's making, let's do it here. So B makes 300 in 1 hour. If B is making 300 in 1 hour, then B must make 1 unit in 300th of an hour. Makes sense. Makes sense, because if it's making 300 units in 1 hour, 1 unit must take only 1/300th of an hour. Therefore 800 will take 1/300 times 800, which is same as 8/3. That's our final answer, 8/3. And this is what I refer to as our punchline. We're almost there. It seems like a lot of work because I'm explaining everything obviously. Once you get a hang of it and you do it yourself, it actually goes quite fast. So 8/3 is your punchline. Now all we have to do is go to our answer choices. Wherever we see X, we're going to replace it with 2. Wherever we see Y, we're going to replace it with 8 until we get something that gives us 8/3. Let's do it here. So again, one more time before I erase it. So we plugged in 2 for X, which tells us that they're making 800 units in 2 hours. We plugged in 8 for Y, which means that A by itself makes 800 units in 8 hours. Therefore, it must make 100 units in 1 hour. Since they're only working for 2 hours, A must contribute only 200 of the 800 unit, which means B has to make the remaining 600 because they're only taking 200s together. Which implies that if B is making 600 in 2 hours, B must work at a rate of 300 units per hour. That's how it is. This is a simple arithmetic problem now. So simple that all it says is that if it's making 300 units per hour, how long does it take to make 800 units? That's what it is. So now we go through the answer choices. We replace X by 2, we replace Y by 8 until we get our punchline, which is 8/3. Let's do it here. Answer choice A says X over X plus Y. X over X plus Y. X plus Y is 10. We don't have 10 in the bottom, we have 3 in the bottom, that's not it. B again says y over x plus y. Again, x plus y is 10. X plus y, 2 plus 8 is 10. That's not it. We're looking for 3 at the bottom. C says x times y over x plus y. Again, x plus y. It's going to be 10, and on the top it's going to have 2 times 18. There is no way this 10 is going to turn into a 3. You understand? That's what I'm talking about. There is no way that 10 is going to turn into a 3. That's not it. Let's look at D. D says x times y over x minus y. X minus y, x is 2 and the y is 10. Oh, sorry, y is 8. That's going to give you a negative number. That's going to give you a negative number. That's going to give you negative 6 at the bottom. We need a 3 at the bottom. That's not it. Let's see what E does. E says x times y over y minus x. Let's see what that happens. Y minus x is 6. We're not going to worry too much about 6 because C could very well turn into a 3 if we can somehow divide it by 2. So let's see what happens on the top. On the top we have x times y. Oh, there you go. X is 2 and the y is 8. There you go. That 2 cancels out with the 6 and that gives 3. 8 over 3. Which is not a big surprise. It's bloody well worked out because that was the only hope left. All the others we had crossed out. So that's it. That's our answer. E is the answer. Now this is one way of doing it. Now we're going to do it with the algebra, and I'm going to leave it up to you to decide if you can brook the algebra. Let's do it with the algebra, shall we? That's it, we're done with this part. I'm going to use this sentence in my I'm going to use this word in my sentence one more time, and then I'm going to tell you if you're interested in learning this word along with some other words. If you're interested in improving your vocabulary, I'll tell you where to go. Just give me 1 second. Brook was the word, and I know we covered it. Oh, really good. Day number 4. What do you know? Just type in vocabulary. Just type in vocabulary day 4 along with my name, Keshwani, and then vocabulary day 4, and you will see a video where you will learn the word, where you will learn the meaning of the word brook in the context that I just used. What I said was, I'm going to say it one more time. I said, now we're going to do the same problem with algebra if you can brook it. To brook something means to tolerate something, to be able to tolerate something, to stomach something, to handle something, to take it. Can you take it? Can you tolerate it? Can you handle it? Can you stomach it? Can you brook it? You understand? Some people are very good at algebra and they don't mind doing the problem in the algebraic way, and some people are not very good in algebra, and for those people their only hope is to plug in numbers and do it the way we just did it. But let's just do it with the algebra. Only if you are up for it, only if you can brook it. So here we go. So these numbers no longer apply. We're not going to put in numbers here, we're going to do it with the algebra. We do the same problem, we do the same exact thing, but with the algebra the only difference is that instead of concrete numbers, algebra is an abstract arithmetic. That's what it is. We do it in abstract terms. You understand? So here we go. So based on this thing, we are told that in y hours, A makes 800 units. That's what we're told. That implies that in 1 hour, A must make 800 over y units. And since they're working together only x hours, see, we're doing the same exact thing. They're working for x hours, so what we're doing is first we're figuring out the rate of work of A. Now we know how fast A is working. Just like before, when we had plugged in 8 for y, we figured out the rate of work, which was 100 units per hour. And then we ask ourselves, well, at that rate, how much will A contribute to the total work? Because they're working together only 2 hours, which is what we're going to do now. So now we know that y is making in 1 hour this many units. Therefore, in 2 hours, or rather not 2 hours, it's no longer 2, you see, it's x. It is no longer 2, it's x. Therefore, in x hours, A will make 800 over y times x, or 800x over y units. So that's the contribution of A. Altogether they have to make 800 units. So now we figured out how much A is making. Now we have to figure out how much B will make. You see, with arithmetic it's very simple. Once we figured out that A was making 200 units, it was a cinch. It was a matter of seconds for us to know that B must make 600 units, because it was arithmetic. It goes like this. Algebra is a little different. So now we have to figure out how much will B make. So we have to subtract this quantity from 800. So that implies that B must make 800 minus 800x over y in how many hours? In x hours. Because that's how many hours they are working. I'm going to continue on the top here because I need the room. I'm going to continue this part on the top. But before I do that, I want to simplify this thing. You see, we see 800 here, we see 800 here. Let's take out the 800 common. If we take out the 800 common, we're left with here, we're left with 1, and here we are left with x over y. Let's take it out common, okay? So, now we know that B must make this many. So, in x hours. B must make that many in x hours. (800 times 1 minus x over y in x hours). That implies that it must make 1 minus 1 over x in x over 800 hours. You see, I just took 800 and divided by that quantity. Had it been 2 times this quantity in x hours, then this quantity by itself must have been half of that. You see, had it been 2 times some quantity in x hours, then this quantity must be in x over 2. Had it been 10 times this quantity, it would have been x over 10, this quantity right here. That in that many hours. But it's not working that many hours. It doesn't have to make, oh sorry, I shouldn't have divided by, we don't want to make this many quantity, we're almost there. We don't want to make this many quantity, we want to make 800. We want to make 800, so we have to leave 800 here. It must make 800 in 1 minus x over y hours. That's it, that's our answer. We just have to simplify it. That's our answer, we just have to simplify it. So let's look at this part here. So it's x over 1 minus x over y, which is same as y minus x over x, over y, which of course is same as x over y times y minus x. That's it, that's our answer. That's how long it takes for B to finish the rest of the job, whatever work that was not done by X, or whatever work that was not done by A in the X hours. But because I'm talking and explaining at the same time, so sometimes, but anyway, that's what we were doing. We were not trying to see, we're not trying to see how long it takes to make this many units, we're trying to see how long it takes to make 800 units. So I have to divide X by 1 over X over 1 minus X over Y, which is what we did here. So that's the algebraic way. If you can handle it, if you can do it accurately, if you can do it correctly and in timely manner, not taking inordinate amount of time, if you can do it in an efficient manner, then kudos for you, go for it. If not, then my recommendation would be to keep it simple and plug in numbers. Because that's what I do. Plug in numbers, convert the algebraic problem into a simple arithmetic problem, make sure you pay attention to details, make sure you pay attention to what numbers you're plugging in. Because once you plug in the value for a variable, that value cannot change throughout the entire problem. And as long as your arithmetic is correct, you will find the answer. Do you understand? I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.